Now, here are the remarkable members of KISS, and first of all, Mr. Gene Simmons, who is the bass player, who is the bass player, Mr. Peter Criss, who is the drummer, Mr. Paul Stanley, who is the guitarist, and Ace Frehley, who is the lead guitarist.
I'm not the lead. I'm the trout player.
Now, tell how this started, you know, because Gene came in and he said, I didn't know I played bass. And I said, well, I see Aykroyd on Saturday Night Live with the bass fish, and then you say the trout player.
So I have to excuse it. Bass.
Bass.
But not
bass. Never a bass player.
Never a bass player.
What would happen if you went out on stage for a concert and you didn't set off the fireworks and you didn't break up the guitar and you didn't have the smoke and the fire and the blood and all that? You just came out and did your thing. What would they come to the concert?
It would still be a rip-roaring rock and roll show, because what we do when we go out there is we don't stand still when we play our instruments. We run around and pretty much raise hell. Can we say that on TV?
Yes, you can.
Well, we raise hell.
TV.
I have medals from, you know, early days of high school track, you know, tracks, and I'm sure we're four very athletic young gentlemen.
I think, yeah, this is our thing, you know, going out like this. So if we didn't go out like this, a lot of people would be really disappointed, because KISS is known for the big show. So why shouldn't we go out and do what people expect?
How does what you do now in concert, what we saw on the videotape, and I'm assuming that that's reasonably recent, how does it differ from when KISS first went out on stage? Did you come out with this tremendous energy right from day number one?
The energy was there, the equipment wasn't. We used to go out and we wanted everybody to think we were famous and that we were very big, so we used to have amplifiers that were empty because we couldn't afford speakers.
I remember that.
We'd pile them against the walls, and we'd tell the lighting man, don't put a light on them, because you could see these circles. You could see where the speakers were. The energy was always there. When we used to play little clubs, we started out playing in Amityville, Long Island, and we always said, this is the Garden. You know, every night we played.
This was the Garden. I want credit for that.
In fact, I remember opening up for lots of bands that had half the equipment. Oh, I see there's a live human being over there. Half the equipment. Right here in front of us.
Wait a second. Have you recorded your laugh?
No, we want to, though.
You must record.
These guys have been talking about recording my laugh. We've done 15 albums. They've never done it. Maybe on the 16th album they will do it.
I think you recorded on your solo album. You did.
Absolutely not.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
Ace has been saving it for a KISS.
That wasn't my real laugh. That was just a compilation of...
All right, upcoming and future KISS albums, Ace Frehley's laugh. Right.
You were saying something.
I forgot.
All right.
No, I know what it was. When we first started out, we had so much equipment that the other bands...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We had no equipment. We were broke.
You remember the Marshall lamps and all that?
Oh, the phony Marshall lamps were incredible.
Phony Marshall lamps. And we used to open up for these bands that had nothing. All they had were guitars and drums, and we had this 6-foot logo, and this was way back in '74. And... people just used to get very, very angry at the fact that we could come out, put on we had a levitating drum set.
Wait,
that was
funny. It would go up 6 feet, but there was like guys with ropes.
Keeping it from falling over.
Pulling me up, yeah. And if we didn't get the guys for that night, the drums were going up.
I mean, when we first started out, we used to play clubs, and the drums would go up, and Peter would be like this, and the ceiling would be getting lower and lower.
And I used to tell the guys, don't lift me anymore. Still keep going at it.
No, but actually, sometimes it worked on a chain drive, the first levitating drum set that we had. And sometimes it would skip.
Gotcha.
Have you ever have a 10-speed bicycle?
Surely.
It would go up like this.
And then drop and go back.
And my heart would drop with it.
And we all felt for Peter.
Yeah. Well, we played along with it, though, you know. In fact, the first time... that's part of the show. You can never let on.
I'm glad you guys
When we first started playing, we had to get used to wearing these kind of shoes. And Ace is notorious for his bad balance. And maybe the first couple of months that we were on tour, invariably, once a night, you would hear a thud on stage, and you would look, and Ace would be sprawled out. And being troopers, we would run over and play over.
These guys were incredible. If I would fall on stage, these guys would run over to me and make believe like it was part of the show. They'd stand over me, and we'd do like this. I'm looking up, and they're looking down. We'd put the guitars together and bounce them off.
People would
turn
love
around.
it. There goes the lead guitarist.
Well, that's part of the show.
When you see the audience going crazy, what goes through your minds? Do you have time to think about audience reaction while you're performing?
I feel like I'm in a movie. I always get the feeling that you know, without comparing ourselves to anybody else, it's almost like the mid-60s, like we're in a Beatles kind of movie. And we're not even playing ourselves because, I mean, when you realize that a lot of the people at the show have been waiting 3 or 4 months to come see us, and this is like the big night for them. And when you see all these people screaming and crying and all that,
Crying why did I spend all that money? I spent all this money.
This is it. He goes up in the air. We're out of here.
True confession time. Huh? True confession time. Exclusive on the Tom Snyder program.
You'll suffer in the dressing room.
Whose idea was Kiss? Who invented Kiss?
We all did.
We all did, yeah.
We've been to, Gene and I were together for about 9 years now.
Not sexually, just...
That's the later part of the program. I want to slip it past 120, and then we'll get into the drugs and, you know, and all that stuff.
No, none of that.
Okay.
No. I don't take drugs.
Mom? Don't touch. Go ahead.
Well, you say 9 years.
Yeah, we've been together about 9 years, and then we broke up a band we were in, and Peter joined us, and then Ace joined us, and the rest is Kiss story.
We always wanted. I always wanted.
Kissmas, it's like everything is
Really?
Kiss. Kissmas, Kiss story.
The thing was, we always wanted theatrics and music together. I did by myself.
We're still hoping for it.
No, and finally I met these two nuts, and they wanted it. We picked him off the Bowery.
Tom McCann, 398 questions.
That was it.
Can I just go around the horn here and start with Gene? And tell me where you're from and where you went to school.
All right, I've got a question to ask you. My manager's on stage. Is this true confession time, or am I on?
No, you're
All right.
really on.
All right. Then I'm from New York City. I'm from
Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
They're not on. Okay.
I'm from Queens, New York. Actually, not too far away from Paul's house. We kind of used to wait for each other before we knew. That's right. Before we knew each other, I'd see this guy waving back. I'd wave.
See, we
and
have the telescopes.
He loves it. Ace loves it.
Ace loves
Can I
anything.
tell you something funny?
I get beat up
Before you guys came on, they gave me a little sheet on each one of you to read, you know, where you're from and how you grew up and blah, blah, blah. And the note said, now, Ace seems to be the most laid back of the four, and he's the one who'll probably be the hardest to make talk.
Well, this is not Ace.
This is George.
This is George.
I'm an imposter. Ace is back in his ass.
That's true.
We got our roadmap.
Who's on first? What's on second? You know. Listen, Tom, about that swampland in New Jersey you were wondering about.
You grew up in New York. You all grew up in different
I
places.
grew up in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn.
I grew up 211th Street and Broadway. I was the only Jew in an Irish neighborhood. And you learn to either run or fight. And then I moved to Queens.
But he used to paint himself green
We were still ready to
every once in a while. That's where the makeup comes in.
I knew Gene and I would be in a band together because he was the only guy in Queens who was wearing whiteface and a ponytail. This guy.
That is true. Boots like this is, you know, it's not your regular 398 Tom McCann special.
That's right. Those are $7.98 at Hardee's.
Tell me about your outfits. I mean, did you design your own outfits, all of you? And tell me what each outfit means. And I'll start with you, Ace.
Well,
That means a
I think
cucumber.
this outfit is self-explanatory. I mean, you know, this is part of a kind of a V shape. This is my utility belt, and we don't want to go any below than my waist area because that's reserved for concert payers. You know?
I understand that. And after it's all over, they say, this is what we paid for.
And that's why I always feel short.
I stole this from Flash Gordon, and, you know, I have my cape there.
But you're kind of like a spaceman, huh?
No, actually, I'm a plumber. On the side. Look.
Listen, I got a little piece of pipe backstage I'd like to have you work on.
Tell me about it.
Oh, you all want it, but I like that. You old sweet talker, you. But I'll tell you, I read on the sheet that they gave me where they said that it's hard to get you out of your shell.
It's hard for me to talk. I'm very introverted.
Try to cheer down. That you wanted to go for a ride in the first spaceship or a rocket ship or something like that.
Are you referring to the space shuttle?
The space shuttle that you wanted.
Yes, I would prefer to have a ride on the first space shuttle if it's feasibly possible. I was speaking to Pat, and I said, you got any info,
Secret
see
ambitions.
if you can get me a ticket on that. I'd be very interested in that, because I'm into technology.
I think Ace doesn't need anything. I think he can just power himself up. You know? His own power.
Ace's limo just... I'm in your band.
Never a dull moment. Let me tell you something about Ace. When we were first starting out, we had a Mylar front to the bass drum. We would play these clubs, and we're still trying to figure out who it is that we are, what it is that we're trying to put across. And Ace ultimately... Ace, yeah, look at him. Hi, Mom. Ace ultimately would look into the Mylar and start laughing at himself.
And I thought he liked me, kept up
having a rotten time, right, Tom?
I'm having an awful time.
Take it easy. It'll get better.
We'll hope so. We'll regroup here for a couple of minutes, and we'll continue with Kiss after these words from the NBC television stations coast to coast. I don't believe this man. I was just talking with the gentlemen in Kiss, George and Peter and Paul and Ace about...
George, manager.
I want to ask...
Oh, George! Oh, you're Ace! George is not here.
George
how about
here,
James?
in the background.
This is the bass player.
All right, you better talk about that list right now. You're not getting away with it.
You were telling me about something that happened on the road.
Well, why don't we Paul kick off the story?
All right, fine. Like I said, Paul was
We
going
were
to
in
kick off the story.
Arkansas.
There's so many great road stories. It's really an education. When you go out on the road, you're really green. I just thought of something. The very first tour we did, you know, you expect all these women and you start settling for girls. But I remember one instance where I didn't even tell you. I was with a girl in my room, and I said to her, "So tell me a little about yourself." You know, she said, "I just got out of the nut house."
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
No, but the story we were talking about, we were in Arkansas, and I was
That's why you wanted to stay in your room that night.
I was with a girl, and this was the first tour, and it turned out...
This is about 4 years ago.
Turned out that she was 16, and it turned out there was a prison right across from the hotel, convenient to take me away. And it also turned out that she made her living going from room to room in the hotel. She was a hooker. And all of a sudden, there's a knock at my door. And it's the police telling me to open up or else. And I can't figure out what's going on except that somebody must have told on me. Meanwhile, Ace is in the room next door throwing his furniture onto the highway, having a party.
Yeah.
We were on the 20th floor of a hotel, and I don't want to name the hotel because I don't want to be incriminated.
Again.
Anyway, I threw all my furniture out the window, and I was with two other friends of mine that actually were from New York, but had somehow ended up in Arkansas at the moment. Anyway, to make a long story short,
we were in Canada.
my road manager runs in the door and he says, "The state troopers are here. They're going to arrest you." He said, "Get in bed and put your head under the pillow." I said, "Good." So 5 minutes later, the state troopers walk in, and there's my road manager, Frankie Scanlaro. Hell of a nice guy. I love him. And he says, "Look at him. He's drunk. He's under the pillows. He didn't do anything."
He was
Go to Paul's.
what a con artist. He was
There were a lot of people in his room. There was a big party. They got him drunk. They drugged him. They threw all his furniture out the window. They ran out the door.
They got him drunk. They got him drunk.
They got me drunk. I fell out. They threw all his furniture out the window. Look at him. He's
We got
gone.
away with it.
And he talked his way-
And it flew, huh?
Yeah. There was
That wasn't the
furniture
first time he
trees.
talked his way out of getting in jail, but he was an incredible guy. Frankie, I love you. I'll see you New Year's Eve.
Going into the last commercial, and I don't know if we still have the record up, but we played a piece of music and you said something that caught my ear. A lot of people won't recognize that.
That's Beth, written by Peter Criss.
As being
Kiss music.
Yeah.
And if it's still up, if you could just sneak it in a bar or two, because maybe people watching this have a short memory span. That'll be here in a second. But now, why would you say people wouldn't recognize?
People have preconceived notions about who it is that Kiss is. You know, they think that all we are is, you know, guitars, loud guitars, drums. We're also four happy-go-lucky kind of guys that wear makeup. You know? No.
Go ahead.
We,
Happy-go-lucky.
Peter Criss. Naturally, they don't play the vocal.
That's us doing
No
the
guitars, no
violin.
drums, that's right.